To open the Attainment and Progress Analyzer or any of its tools, there are two versions of each file. One has a macro enabled version, and the reason for that is so that when you come to wanting to print things, there is an export to Word button you can press, and if you don't like macros, then you won't have the export to Word button on each of your sheets. So when you open it, the first thing you need to do is put your school name in. So I'm going to go for Hollywood, because I'm going to set my school up using Hollywood Stars. I'm going to go for Year Group 5, Class Silver Screen. Okie dokie. Now you'll notice now, if we go to Summary, it's got the school name there, the class name, and the year group that we've just entered. All of this information here is currently set to 0. The graphs are unpopulated because we haven't put anything in yet. Now we'll go back to pupil data entry. We'll start with Tom Hanks. You've got to put a first name in. You can leave the second name optional. Gender. Tom is male. You need to put male or female in this box. Key stage 1 outcomes. We have a choice of working towards the standard, expected standard, or greater depth within the standard. So for reading, Tom was working towards some writing, and for maths he was at expected. Now he's in year 5, he's made some really good progress. He's at expected for all of these, and actually for maths he's gone to work within greater depth. This is the key part for your data analysis, is selecting the factors or the subgroups that these pupils belong to. Now Tom was a pupil premium pupil, so an X goes into that box. You can type it manually or you can use the drop down menu. He was also not very good at attending. He was a persistent absentee, so we're going to put an X in there. And he did key stage 1 in our setting, so we'll put an X there. This box here you can put anything you like, so I'm going to just change the word other to bespoke. If I could type, that would be better. Okay, you're limited to 8 characters, and that could be anything you want, so he's that. Now before I put any other pupils in, I'll just show you the impact that has had. So we'll go to Summary. We now see that we've got 100% of our pupils along here are male, 0% are female, 100% of them are pupil premium, 100% are persistent absentees because there's only one of them. And then this here shows us his current attainment. If we were to look for the reading, writing, maths combined later on, we'll see that he wasn't reading, writing, maths combined at key stage 1, but he now is. So his name is in green, and all of the factors associated with Tom appear next to his name. Okay, and that's the same for, say, the writing mag. So he was working towards in writing, but now he's at expected, and we could see that he was a male, pupil premium, persistent absentee, did key stage 1 with us, and is also a member of our bespoke factor. And all of these tabs you can explore later on. Now we need to add the rest of the class. Okay, so I've very quickly added all of these actors and actresses and their factors, and this is where the data cruncher comes into its own and saves you time. So for our summary now, we can see that of all of our pupils currently 21% are at working towards, 52% are at the expected, 28% are at greater depth, and then it totals these two together to give you the expected plus. So 79% of our pupils are currently where they need to be or better. Same for writing, same for maths, and then in terms of attaining at least the expected in reading, writing and maths, it looks at that information, and we've got 62% at the moment of our pupils are on track to get all 3. Now it breaks it down as well, just to give you more information and insights into the performance of different pupil groups. So if we were to look at our behaviour group, we'll find actually that they're doing really well with their writing at expected, and so on. Reading, we get more of a breakdown here for our reading and which pupil groups are doing or how they're performing. And then we have the mapping attainment grid, so it'll look at all the children who were working towards at key stage 1, working towards now that they are in year 5, and it pops them in this box here. If they were working towards and are now expected, they get green and their name appears here, and so on and so forth. So that really helps us to see which pupils are on track, so that means they're in these grey boxes here. If they're to the right of that, then they're doing better than expected in terms of progress, and if they're to the left of that, their names are in red because they're not making as much progress as we would have liked to see. When it comes to the prior attainment groups, now we can see that the low attainers, 30% of them are still working towards, 70% of them, this is for reading still, have done rather better. So that's good to see. When it comes to our middle attainers, 23% of them are not where they were, so we should see all of them really at expected, but 23%, that's 3 of them, have slipped back a bit. And then with our high attainers, well, they should all be up here really, so we've got one pupil that we need to track back and think, who's this pupil? And we can do that quite easily by looking at the reading attainment grid. Okay, so we had one pupil here who was at greater depth, but now they're not, so that's Judy Dench. What a letdown. And it's the same for all of the subjects. Reading, writing, maths combined gives you a good picture here of everybody really. So we can see that these children, they weren't getting it at Key Stage 1, but these children weren't. They are now, so 5 children have pulled out all the stops and they're doing great. Same here. If they were reading, writing, maths at Key Stage 1, and they still are, that's good. But these two, okay, Julie Andrews and Peter J, I don't know who he is, but he needs to pull his finger out. Basic attainment grid, that's just a quick snapshot of attainment for each reading, writing and maths. And there you have it. Now, if you wanted to put these into a Word document, you can do that really easily if you have the macro enabled version. You just click on export to Word document. If you watch down here, you'll have a little Word icon, and it depends how your computer's set up, but a message will come up on the screen. A Word document's been created. Click on that, and there you can see your Word document is ready for you to print. It's got the date and the time, so you can see when you did it. And that, folks, is how this works.